I would like to raise a question for Sanya, whose speech in a way closes the circle with some of the speeches in the first part of our workshop. And in particular, I would like to focus on the idea that the criminal justice model on trafficking should be in a way set aside and substituted with a more socially oriented model, and which was more or less what Marie was saying in different words, of course, this morning. And my question is this: I wonder whether why this is so. Why? Because from the perspective of a criminal lawyer, which I am, criminalization of human trafficking is a way of protecting human trafficked victims and trafficked persons. But then it comes up that it isn't, at least in a way. And I was wondering why it is. It is a contingent problem which is linked to the way in which criminal law is used, as maybe Marika was saying this morning, or it is a structural problem that we have with criminal law in itself. For instance, with its being state-centered, with its being structurally oriented to protect state interests much more than the interests of individual victims, and especially if they are foreign individual victims. Do you have an answer to this question? Thank you.
Oh, if I had an answer to this question, Alessandro, I will probably be receiving a Nobel Prize right now in Stockholm. I don't think anyone has anything very smart to say. Look, I feel your pain acutely, can I just say, because I am a lawyer myself and a criminal lawyer to that. So it really pains me what I'm going to say, but I suppose I'm not. You know, I'm actually agreeing with what Marika was saying quite a lot in her paper, and I keep referring to it, but back to it, because I think it actually, what we started 20 odd years ago with the Palermo protocol is not like what we wanted to do with the criminal justice response is not what's happening right now. And that is sort of what Marika was very clearly saying in her presentation. This was not meant to be what is being used for now. And we obviously, I suppose, differ in the sense that scholars like Marika and you know, myself until recently were thinking, well, maybe we can fix the problem. But now I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm not sure. And the reason for this is that we the criminal justice response simply sends the sort of this simple message like, oh, we have prosecutions and we have prosecution, the system is working and we're getting the justice for victims. And we know that that's not necessarily the case. And we know that by in doing this, I think Morenica needs to come in. If someone can please let her in. Thank you. It's a very long answer, but I'll try to actually just say it in a very few words. What we plan to do with the criminal justice response and what's happening are it does not translate, and what is even more problematic is that we have now all of these people who are effectively out of the system and not protected at all, because either they're not ideal victims or can't be used for a successful prosecution, or their migration status trumps their victimization status and they're effectively repatriated. So I'm sort of saying, well, hold on a second. Are we simply doing something to say to ourselves that through the criminal justice we're getting something, and something is better than nothing? My thinking is, well, why don't we just go 2 steps backwards and try to look at the bigger picture and then see if we can fix that first, and then see what we can do with the criminal justice, and whether we need to go back to it at some point and reimagine how we deal things, and go back to Palermo and see what Palermo really actually wanted us to do. Yeah, I don't know if you heard me there, but
yeah. Did Mariniko, did she come back in? I mean, I'd be interested in hearing a view from a sort of a much more applied and urgent position really on this matter, because I suppose it's easier to be concerned about the criminal justice effects if we're talking in general terms and if we're talking about specific women and girls. But I'm not sure what's going on with the internet. Maybe she's not. Oh no, it looks like she's. Wow. Okay.
I'm not quite sure Morenica is still here, but
she seems to be sort of coming in and out, which I suspect must mean that her internet is just not working.
Okay, so can we take one or two more comments or questions? And it can be directed to any of the speakers, so we can close this session.
I'm sorry, I think Mariniko is coming in. I've just let her in the room, I hope. So maybe we could just ask her to come if she heard. I'm not sure.
Mariniko, are you in the meeting again, or have you? Because we wanted to hear your view on this question about the appropriate role of criminal justice in dealing with the kinds of things that you are working on in Nigeria. Technology when it doesn't work. That's a shame.
The question. Mary, can you come again with the question?
Oh, okay. Well, we were having a conversation about, well, the last one was between Alessandro and Sanya, was around this issue of whether or not really a criminal justice response is the right way of tackling trafficking, or whether it should instead be dealt with as a social justice matter. And we were wondering what your perspective was, given the work that you're doing in Nigeria. But we can't hear you. Oh, I'm afraid I don't think it's going to work.
While we wait to hear from Morenike, I think that what's operational in Nigeria is that the trafficked persons are seen as victims. The trafficked persons are seen as victims, and they are really not criminalized. The efforts of the government, especially NAPTIP, which is the national agency that is engaged trafficking in persons, is actually directed at the traffickers and, of course, the kingpins and all the others who have their resources both in Nigeria, in the transit countries, and in the country of destination. Well, we did some work some time back with the Edo State government. Edo State, if you are quite aware with what is happening in Nigeria, is the state that is most prone to trafficking in persons. And about 6 or 7 of persons trafficked in Nigeria are linked to Edo State. So the state has an agency called ETAT, which is Edo State Trafficking Against, Edo State Task Force Against Human Trafficking. Now, what that agency did was to set up a body of inquiry to find out from returnees, those who returned from abroad, especially those who returned from Libya, who attempted crossing the Mediterranean but could not. And so what the government did was to, if you like, re-socialize them into the system. Some of them who could go to school were sent to school, and those who couldn't were asked to learn certain trades in order to make them useful again to the society. But of course, we know that from what we saw, some of them still made attempts to go back to that place. That is the concept of self-trafficking. We do know that it's not all the time that people are actually sold as slaves. Some persons by themselves actually make up their mind to be trafficked. So the idea of self-trafficking in Nigeria is not seen as a social problem, rather it's seen as a criminal problem. So that's the extreme on the other side. So when people traffic themselves and are caught, they are criminalized. But if people are trafficked by sponsors, then the sponsors are criminalized, while those who are trafficked are seen as victims. That's my perspective, but Morenike may have a different perspective. I thought I should share that with us.
Okay, thank you, Lugard. Dr. Lugard, can anybody hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I think Dr. Lugard has done justice to that question. And I would also say that both are independent of each other. I think a bit of a social issue and a bit of because of the criminalization of the traffickers and the court proceedings. I think that, you know, there should be some form of criminal justice because it's a criminal act. But I think also, like I said in my presentation, that it is a gendered issue, a social issue, and it should also be handled like it is being handled in Benin City, Nigeria. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. I think
Thank you
actually
very much, Morenike.
That takes us to the end of the session. So that's we are out of time, and we just had written. So Lugard, would you like to thank your speakers?
Thank you very much, Mary. I'd like to thank everyone, every speaker. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you. I hope I got your name right now. Well, thank you, everyone, for everything that you did. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Thank you so much. And sincere apologies again. Sincere apologies for the bad network. Yes. Okay then. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Antonio. So we have come to the end of our international workshop, and I think it was just really now a moment for me to thank the audience for attending, and for the speakers across the panels for participating. I certainly learned a lot today, and it seems to me that as a field of inquiry, this is a very dynamic one where there's lots of policy, there's lots of conflict, there's lots of discussions that need to be had, and we've done our best to facilitate some of those today across time and space. And so thank you very much for sticking with us, and we've recorded the talks so they will be made available in due course. But thank you very much, everybody, and have an enjoyable rest of your day.
Thank you so much. From
Bye.
Palermo. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.